Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're on speech 4. Today I'm going to be talking about lacrosse, how it came to be, and a couple of the rules. But before I get into that, please hit that like button and smash the subscribe button. It shows that you guys are really appreciating my content, and it helps me keep making more videos. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, cool. So I was about in the 8th grade when I first started playing lacrosse. When my buddies invited me to practice, and I ended up loving it. I played all the way through junior high and high school, and I actually broke a couple of records during my high school career. And hopefully next year I'll be playing for the Utah State Aggies, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And there's a quote that I actually really like that helped me change my mindset about practice so that I can just get better. It says, "Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference between success and failure." So help me work harder and it helped motivate me. As I was searching online, I found this article by Owen Klaff, and the title of it is "The World Lacrosse," published January 21st of 2019. It says, "The games of lacrosse were played for a number of reasons for the Native American. One, it was considered a sport to toughen up young warriors for war, and it was also for recreational and religious reasons." So the Native American games were seen as major events and sometimes took place over several days. So what they would do, they would compete against other villages, and the goals sometimes would range anywhere from 500 yards to several miles. And some estimated that there would be 100, even up to 100,000 players playing at a time. They didn't have many rules back then, but you couldn't touch the ball with your hand. What they would do to prepare for games is they would paint themselves with charcoal and just other colored paints all over their face and body just to look intimidating. But what I want to do right now is go over the new positions that they have nowadays. Now that it's more modern, we have a couple more rules. Instead of having 100,000 players, we have 10 players on the field, and there's 4 different positions. You have attack, midi, defense, and goalie. So here's just a representation of the field. You have 3 attack. Those guys are the offense people. Those ones score on all the points. Middies, you have 3 of them as well. These guys help set up the attack to get better shots on goal and score more, so they help make an offense. Then defense, they just help the goalie by stopping the opponents from scoring. Pretty self-explanatory. So a couple rules. If you cause the ball to go out of bounds, the opponent gets to start with the ball, and you have to be wearing your equipment. So you have a helmet, shoulder pads, elbow pads, and gloves and cleats. Those are just required to be worn. There's a couple other rules, and if you were to violate them, they're called penalties. If you hit somebody in the head with your stick, if you trip somebody with your stick, or if you hit somebody who doesn't have the ball, that will result into a 2-minute penalty where you have to sit in a box. Now what I want to do, all of that information came from Rick Lake from the title "Rules of Lacrosse," and it was published in March 21st of 2019. Now what I want to do for you guys is do a little visual aid, show you guys how to pick the ball up off the ground, how to run down the field with the ball on your stick without losing it, and how to pass and shoot. So first things first, you have the ball on the ground. What you want to do is grab the stick at the highest point of the stick that you can without grabbing the head, then grab the lowest part of it. You're going to want to do like a little lunge scooping motion, so just kind of look like this. Try to get it low to the ground as possible so it's easier for you to scoop it. Now when you have it, you're going to run down the field. What you got to do is called cradling. So when you're running, you want to flick the ball flick your wrist like that so the ball stays in the back of the net, then flick it back. So it looks like this. So when you're running, the ball just always stays in the net, in the back of the net. Now, when you want to pass, put the end of your stick towards the destination where you want to pass to. So your player's over there, point the stick over there, and have your elbow up, point your toe towards the direction, and then just release the ball like that. And then point towards where you want to pass it. So, just like that. And to shoot, same thing as passing, but instead of just going like this, you're going to wind up, extend your arm like all that, and then just do it with more force, just like that. Pretty self-explanatory. A question that I had for my question was, somebody asked, what is the common injury for lacrosse? And I found this article by Carter, Elizabeth, Lincoln, and Andrew, and the title of it is called Common Injury Scenarios in Men's Lacrosse, published in June of 2010. And they've concluded that concussions are the most common injury in lacrosse, just because when people are going to body check somebody, they lead with their head and they bonk heads, and that just leads to the common injuries, just concussions. I hope that these tips and tricks could help you understand and know a little bit more about your knowledge of lacrosse. So if you're ever watching a game on TV, or if one of your friends are talking about lacrosse, you'll know what they're talking about. If you ever need to refer back to this video, don't hesitate to come back. And just remember, attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference between success and failure.